Okay, this is Mike here, and thanks for joining the Notary Association LinkedIn group. And today I'm going to just do this quick video. I'm going to post it on YouTube. So anybody who is seeing this on YouTube, please join our group where you can interact with us at www.linkedin.com and look for the New York State or NYS Notary Association group, free to join. So today we want to talk about the proper procedure to do an affidavit, which is the biggest problem I've seen in New York State in all my years of teaching notary licensing law and talking to state legislators and reading tribunal hearings where notaries are hauled in for breaking the law. And essentially on an affidavit, little quick terminology review, an affidavit is a signed statement duly sworn to by the maker thereof. And that is going to be John Doe in this example. He makes the affidavit above, not because he actually wrote it, but usually a lawyer or a paralegal or government agency or a bank wrote it. And he reads it and signs it. And then we ask him to swear under oath verbally that, well, this is the question we ask. Do you solemnly swear that the contents of this affidavit subscribed by you is correct and true? Once he answers out loud the words "I do" or words of like meaning, he became the maker of the affidavit above his signature. So while he didn't write it, once he swears to it under oath by an officer authorized to administer an oath, which is a notary public, he becomes the maker of it legally. And now an indictment for perjury is sustainable. So right here I just showed the venue, State of New York, County of, little quick review. The duty is imposed upon the notary by statute to include the venue of your act on all notary certificates, including notary affidavit certificates, which the Latin name for that is a jurat, and this is the notary's affidavit certificate. The words "sworn to before me," this, and then I put in the 25th day of February 2011. So sometimes people prepare your certificates and make mistakes. This is just a recommended procedure. If somebody put in the wrong county in your venue and then they actually appear to you in Kings instead of Queens, we recommend you put a single line through it and initial it and then write the correct information. The reason we don't recommend scribbling things out, or worse than that, whiting it out and writing over it, it looks tampered with. It could inadvertently raise a question of impropriety and call you to have to defend it, whereas we believe that when you put a single line through it and leave it open and apparent, any changes you need to make, because somebody else put this there, you didn't, and you initial it, it's pretty obvious what you did and nobody should raise a question. Okay, so back to the affidavit procedure. Whatever the affidavit is, he signed it. Generally we're allowed to charge $2 for one of these, and it's not mandatory to charge a fee. The only time we can't charge for whatever that affidavit is if that affidavit is swearing this guy or whoever's bringing it to you to any other public office, including military officers. Anytime the affidavit is an oath of office, the $2 fee is waived. Okay, so you're saying here when you fill this out that this was sworn to before you. And for that to happen legally, you have to ask them the question the way it's written by law. There's two ways to do it. There's the oath question, and I said here you read it to the person. You're not required by law to read it, but you are required to say it exactly as it's written, so we recommend you read it. And the reason you have to say it the way it's written, and also to have the affirmation, there's two ways. There's a choice. We'll go into that. But whichever one you choose, the oath we'll call it, or the affirmation oath, whichever one you choose, because they're interchangeable, you have to say the one you choose exactly as it's written, because it's written in a form calculated to awaken the conscience of the affiant, in this case it's John Doe, with his or her religious and or ethical beliefs. So that's what we have too. You might have heard the word religious there. So the first one, called an oath, is do you solemnly swear that the contents of this affidavit subscribed by you is correct and true? And then for it to be complete, they, or he in this case, must answer out loud the words "I do" or words of like meaning. That means you can decide anything they say, you can accept it if you determine that it means "I do." Okay, So that being said, sometimes when you say the word swear to people, or even you yourself listening to this might object to that for religious, or because you're atheist, or you're against religion, you're against this word because it has a connotation to it. We have this alternate. This is the question for people who conscientiously decline taking an oath. It's legally equivalent to an oath and just as binding. And that's this. Do you solemnly, sincerely, and truly declare, and I always joke with the class, it only rhymes with swear, but you go from swear to declare, and affirm, and what's the name of it? It's an affirmation. We like that when we have to take the exam, but everyone listening to this presumably has already passed the exam. So, declare and affirm that the statements made by you are true and correct. And, once again, they must answer out loud, I do, or words of like meaning. Now, folks, hopefully you haven't gotten into a bad habit since you've been licensed. But, you know, you have to say this when somebody brings you an affidavit. And I found surveying classes over the last decade that probably only about 5% of the people, when they are brought an affidavit to a notary, actually had this done. So anytime these words aren't spoken, both from the state officer and the affiant answering out loud, I do, anything less is a silent delivery of an oath, which is unacceptable. It'll get thrown out. Or if they say it wrong, like sometimes they just say, oh yeah, do you swear that it's true? Well, that's not it. You have to say it exactly as it's written, whichever form you choose, because they're both written in a form calculated to awaken the conscience of the affiant in accordance with his religious, maybe in this case, and or ethical, maybe in this case, thinking. So there you go. You don't want to do a silent or a slipshod. Silent, nothing at all, or slipshod, wrong. They're both unacceptable defects. What can happen with an unacceptable defect? You can have the document unrecorded due to your negligence, and they could sue you in civil court. Your license can always be suspended once you've had a copy of the charges against you and an opportunity of being heard. And if they determine that you did this improperly, knowingly, that could be the criminal charge of professional misconduct, which, if convicted, is a Class A misdemeanor. I hope you enjoyed this review. Keep coming back for more. We'll keep you posted and we'll keep you current.